is below 200, let's say it is 195, your doctor is not going to do anything about that. And he's going to go, your cholesterol is okay. Your doctor works on disease. You have to have an actual disease for your doctor to be interested in curing that disease. And in fact, when it's chronic disease, we don't know how to cure it. We can manage it. That's all. So if you have a chronic disease manifested in the form of high blood pressure, you'll take a pill for that. Sometimes more than one pill. And you stay on it. And what you're doing is one thing, you're managing it. A lot of people, while on the pill, get a stroke or a heart attack. Or let's say your cholesterol is 240, above the 200 line. And depending on your age, your weight, and things like that, the doctor may say something like, I think I want to put you on some, cholesterol lowering drug. Don't worry, it's okay. It's been around for a long time. It is safe and so forth. Of course, no drug is safe completely. Some drugs are safer and have a better track record than other drugs. That's true. But just the fact, and that's what I want to convey to you, and this is what we have found here. The fact that your doctor says something like, you have blah, he pronounces what it is, or the fact that your doctor says, I think it makes sense to put yourself on this drug. Just that indicates that you're already on the dwindling spiral. The aging process in your body has just speeded up. And the way to fix that is not to just manage it. Is to really do what it takes to bring yourself back into level 5, which is where disease is diagnosed, and then into 4, where you have symptoms, mostly in the area of energy, lack of energy, mental, emotional, and physical energy. That's around 4. Around 3, you have very, very okay energy. When you get to 2, you have abundant energy. You see? Abundance is how you achieve longevity. Not by looking at your blood work and looking at those numbers, the markers that show whether you have too high a cholesterol level or if your liver functions are not doing well. No. You want to have some margin, because what you operate here is a flesh body. It's very fragile. Very fragile. You see? If you're young, you don't really recognize that. It's hard for you to even put your attention on that. Like, what do you mean? If your knee is healthy, you don't even know that you have a knee. You're not thinking about it. You don't feel it. You don't do it. If you need to walk, you just walk. You see? That's what happens when you're really young, when the body is functioning as a young body. And you don't want to have, let's say you're 50 years old, you don't want to have a body of a 50-year-old, biologically. Calendar-wise, it's 50. A year later, it's 51. And it'll continue to do that. But biologically, there are things that you can do to stop not aging. The speeded aging, you can stop. So it turns into normal aging, slow aging. Those who live to be 110 and 15 and so forth, age, definitely age, but their aging process is very slow. You see? So it's not a weight loss is just one thing. If you do it right, you do everything else that you need to do to live longer. And that's what we do here. We call it weight loss because people are more interested in weight than health. You see? So I can honestly tell you, we don't have a weight loss program. We don't. how come that people vote this place as the #1 weight loss center in town? Because we produce more weight loss than other centers by focusing on longevity. The focus is longevity. Longevity doesn't mean that if you're 30, now you're thinking about living to be 100. You're not even thinking about that. Longevity is, what can I do to give my body abundance, big margin of health? Let's say your income is $1,000 a month. And when you add up your bills, your monthly bills, completely, every one of them, they add up to about $1,000. Is that a good situation? No. There's no abundance. Lack of abundance creates stress. Lack of abundance creates stress. Stress because you have to recreate that $1,000 every single week or else. Consequences. Stress. But what if you make $1,000 and your expenditure is $100? You're relaxed. You have abundance. You see? This is exactly the case when it comes to health. Just being barely healthy means that you internally, the body is just getting older quickly, speeded, more so than normal, which means that there's a problem. There's a reason for that. Something in the body is causing the body to age more quickly. Does that make sense?
Very much so.
Okay. This is exactly what it is. So that's why when somebody starts the program here, of course they're thinking it's a weight loss program. We don't tell them it's not, because they're going to lose weight, probably better than anywhere else. But I tell them, when you start the program, develop the state of mind that you're doing the program until you're done. Keep at it until you are done, not halfway through it. Some people say, well, the lowest weight I have achieved in the last 20 years was, say, 145. And I felt great. But let's say their ideal weight, the healthiest weight, the longevity type of weight that they need to achieve is 125. I want them to be at 125. And doesn't matter how long it takes. It does not matter. Get to 145. Feel comfortable. It's okay. But don't stop. Do not stop. Because it's not about weight loss. You have achieved your goal when it comes to weight loss. You are at 145. But if, based on science, based on testing your body, not average, information you get from a textbook, you need to be at 125. So you have abundance of health. What if you decide to take a 30-day vacation and not worry about food? Just eat whatever you want, drink whatever you want. It's okay if you wanted to do that. You're free to do that. What's going to happen to your 145? It's going to turn into 155. It'll take you from stage 5, where things can be diagnosed and where aging goes, the process of aging goes beyond that halfway point, which means a dwindling spiral, back to number 4 and number 3 and number 2. So if you're a 125 and you decide to do something like this, okay, you'll gain 5 pounds maybe. Not a big deal. Then you can take a month or 2 or 3 months, no stress, and bring it back down to 120 or 125, whatever that number is for you. So when you're watching what you're doing, food-wise, exercise-wise, stress-wise, emotionally, spiritually, if you're really in a happy place across the boards, if you're contributing to yourself, you take care of yourself, contributing to your family, contributing to the place of work, whatever that place, your community, contributing to the country, contributing to mankind, then your life is in balance. Contributing to the animal kingdom, caring for animals, for plants, for the environment. If you are actually doing those things, you're in a good shape. But the first thing that you have to care for, so that you can actually care for the other things, is you, your body. And when you start on a journey like this, don't stop until you achieve optimum results. Because if you say get to the 145, you look at yourself in the mirror, you go, good, that's excellent. You may think you're done. Sometimes you are done. Sometimes you need to be at 145, scientifically, and we're good. You're really done. But sometimes you need to do more, you know? So if you're on the plan already, find out from your coach where you need to be at and achieve that target at any cost. Achieve that target no matter what happens, because without that, you don't have sufficient health to handle life. You don't. You don't have enough abundance of health to handle life. Notice what happens as we get older. This is true across the boards. It's not true for every single person, because people are different. But in general, it is true. You do less. You reach out less. You think less. You create less. And so on.
As you age.
As you age. Because you believe that, okay, I'm aging. It is normal for me not to be as
Sharp.
As sharp, which is, by the way, it's a degree. If you're not as sharp, that means you have already gone through at least step 5. Maybe you're into step 6. Okay? In terms of developing Alzheimer's. And if you go to your doctor, he's not going to say that. Because you don't have Alzheimer's. You don't have it until you have it. Then it's a disaster. It's a disaster. You see? The best way to handle, to cure, to address Alzheimer's is not to have it in the first place. That's the best thing. And how do you do that? You do that by eating correctly, by balancing your stress with your abundance and freedom, and caring for yourself, caring for your family, caring for your community, caring for mankind, doing things like this. You see? It's basically, if I were to use one word to describe all of these activities, it is the word of giving. Nothing can handle stress in life as effectively as the action of giving. Nothing. That's how you balance stress. You have a stressful job. How do you handle that? Well, you look at the job and you look at the causes of stress and you do what you can. But since you live life, even if you handle your job and the source of stress in your job perfectly, you're likely to have another source of stress. This is life. So how do we handle that? Because the body doesn't deal well with stress. We don't have, the human body is not equipped with a mechanism to handle long-term stress. We don't have it. So what happens if you are subjected to long-term stress? You become ill. And eventually you develop disability as you get older. You know, sometimes at a younger age. Especially those who develop diabetes. Can lose a limb, lose their vision, lose their kidney, have heart attacks at a very early age, or strokes because of diabetes. You see? I had a lady yesterday who was 27. 27. Zero energy, no energy. Yesterday. She had no energy, no physical energy, no emotional energy. The day before yesterday, she went to bed at 7 p.m. A 27-year-old. She's already acting like an older person because she allowed the aging process to just go really fast inside of her body.
She was very depressed or something.
And she was depressed. She wouldn't admit it. She said, "Oh no, I'm not depressed."
Yeah.
She slept from 7 p.m. to 9 a.m. 14 hours. Okay? No energy physically. She doesn't exercise or anything like that. Okay? So it can happen quickly. In your 20s, it can. If you're already in your 50s and beyond, you have to really take it seriously. And the objective is, I want to achieve abundance of health, a big margin of health. Not just, okay, I'm okay. I look okay. I feel okay for my age. Oh no. Because the average is really bad. People think that if your cholesterol is below 200, you're okay. This is false. It is false. A lot of heart attacks happen when your total cholesterol is between 150 and 200. Almost no heart attacks have been recorded in a human body whose total cholesterol was below 150. So that's the kind of abundance I'm talking about. Your cholesterol, total cholesterol, needs to be 150 or lower. Those who live to be 100, 120 have a cholesterol of 113, 117. Facts. These are facts. And those who live longer, not in industrialized countries and in a big city like Los Angeles, no. But those who live longer on this planet we call Earth, actually, let's say they hit the age of 50 and they're health-wise at level 5. They have a few things going on, they're working on them and so forth. By the age of 70, they're at level 4 or level 3. If you take a look at their blood pressures, 96 over 62 or 57. That's it. Better than 50 years earlier when they were in their 50s. Cholesterol, excellent. 100 and maybe 13 or something. Total cholesterol. Total, not bad cholesterol. You know, most people that I see have just the bad cholesterol portion of total cholesterol at way above 113. Sometimes 200, sometimes more. You see? Their A1C, which is a marker for diabetes. Okay. I had someone just recently whose number for A1C was 13.5 or 13.9 or something. For those guys, the centenarians, about 4. What is normal? Which is level 5 already. Between 5.5 and 6.5. Your doctor may not do anything if it's 6.5. Some doctors do something. Because this is becoming an issue. Because we have a sick nation. Our biggest bill as a nation is healthcare. And we're the sickest we've ever been. We spend more money per capita on healthcare, not just more than any other nation, more than any other nation in history. Never have we spent that kind of money on healthcare per person. Never. It is so expensive. And the results don't speak for themselves. You know. So it's your job. It's nobody else's. I want to tell you something. It is your responsibility to fix it, but it's not your fault that you're going through something like this. Let me explain. People think when you see somebody who's overweight and lethargic, and you think that person is lazy. That person looks lazy, but that person probably is not lazy at all. If that person is a mother and you watch her for 24 hours and what she does, you're not going to think she's lazy. She does a lot of things. If that person works at an office, and you watch her for 8 hours, you're not going to think she's lazy at all. So when there's some responsibility, those people, just like everybody else, step up to the plate and they do what they need to do. Despite what's going on with the body, they make themselves do it. They force the body to get up at that time and start doing those things and so on, which is not good for the body, by the way. It's too much, already too much. You see, people think when they see somebody who's lethargic and overweight that that person is lazy. There are quite a few things that people, studies were done on this, that people instantly think when they see somebody who's not looking really healthy. One of them is lazy. The other one is that person is not trustworthy. Where does that come from? I have no idea, but it's true. Why? Because you cannot be trusted with your own health. This is the rationale. You see? It's not fair, but that's what happens. Let's go back to the point that this is your responsibility, but it's not your fault. It is your responsibility to know what I just told you. That's one. It is your responsibility to do something about it. That's two. It is your responsibility to get the job done, which means abundance, not just that number, abundance way beyond that. Because life can only be tamed and handled with abundance. Period. You see? Mm-hmm. If you make $100,000 a month and you spend $100,000 a month, you are poor. But you don't realize that. And no one around you will ever realize that. Because you look like you're driving the best car, you have the best house, and all of those things. But you must be under intense pressure. But if you make $100,000 a month and you spend $5,000 a month, for example, you are extremely rich. Extremely. In fact, if you make $10,000 a month and you spend $5,000 a month, you're much, much richer than the other person. Because the other person with $100,000 is a slave. There's no other word that I want to use for that. It is very precise. And most people, most Americans live like that. You see, you need some abundance. Otherwise, your health will be affected by this. So that's one reason why it's not your fault. The system that you live in is created in such a manner that will put you at a place where you make so much money, you spend so much money. And it in fact encourages you to spend more. Because banks can loan you money to put you further in that slavery system and trap you into it.